tarantula to the tiny mite. 8 legs of wisdom bringing truth to light. On the spider sense they break down the fear. Creepy crawly legends are getting clear. For the love of science spreading wide, uniting communities in arachnid pride. We tune in, listen up, let it right. Feel the fascination flip overnight. Spider wisdom flowing through the airwaves, building bridges with the facts it pays.
Hey y'all, so special
Hi
little
everyone.
episode today. I am at, can you read that? 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 Tinley! And I'm also here joined by my special guest, Amelia Miranda.
Hi everyone. And also we
So,
got another guest.
bef- oh yeah, and we still have to decide a name for our milk snake that Miranda has.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I will let everybody know I'm keeping track of my battery. I forgot my charger. Sorry, everybody. So we'll see how far we make it.
Yeah, the thing is we're just here to have fun, so let's go.
Exactly. Also, a special shout out to our sponsors. Ooh. So, special shout out to Ship Your Reptiles and Strange Cargo Exotics, Shed Outfitters, and of course, Cold Blooded Cafe. And if you aren't a member of US ARC or US ARC Florida, please join. And then also like, subscribe, and follow the Untamed and Unhinged platforms. All right, Miss Amelia, tell us about yourself. What do you keep? All the
Well,
strangeness down in Mexico.
down in Mexico. Well, hi everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you. And it's always a pleasure to share a space here and to be able to talk about our passions and just, be passionate about everything that we keep, everything that we own. I started really keeping tarantulas about probably 2.5 years ago. And let me tell you, it starts off as a small thing and it becomes an obsession pretty quickly. So, like, you go from having one to then having three, and then three becomes 15. And, well, depending on your space, depending on everything that you can do, 15 may become 20 or 50 or any
A
number of tarantulas.
hundred,
Because honestly, what I
200.
I know, and that's the thing, because what I really love the most about them is that, like, they do require some attention, some maintenance, obviously, but they are so hardy and so low maintenance that you can just get a lot and they'll be fine. Like, sometimes I got spiders that don't eat for whole months, whole years, even. Like, when they're adults, sometimes they just refuse food and they're still fat, they're still plump, they're still walking around, moving around, drinking water. And I think that's, like, I don't know, something no other animal can do. Like, you just got this little tiny creature that can stay in the same position for a whole week and nothing happens. But they're just so interesting, so beautiful. um Lately, I had to get rid of some tarantulas because I've had some financial problems, sadly. But in my heyday, I had, I think, upwards of 130 tarantulas, if I'm not
Oh my
mistaken. Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, and that's not counting other arachnids and roaches and scorpions and everything in between, you know. And
So
then I
that's just
started keeping snakes.
tarantulas? Oh
Yeah,
my
actually,
gosh.
let me show you one of them.
Yeah.
Because we're all ready here, ready for the show. Let's put this girl back here. This little girl. She's called Amelia too.
Oh my god, I love her.
Yeah, I know. She's
So what
an
kind of
Arizona
tarantula
blonde.
is that? Oh, an Arizona
An
blonde. I
Arizona
have one of
blonde. Yeah,
those.
I really love this because they're just so tame, so nice. None of the ones that I've ever had have been like feisty or nervous or anything. They're just so like little teddy bears, you know? You can pet them.
Yeah.
They're so soft. They're velvety soft. They're so calm. They're so beautiful. And I think that's part of the things that makes me love tarantulas so much. Just look at that. Would you look at that? She's such a sweetheart.
I actually
Then
just was on a podcast yesterday with Jen, um, who is
yeah.
the main host of the Spider Sense, and I had my little Arizona blonde out, um,
Oh,
Sedona. So she was on my hand for like a good hour
Sedona.
almost.
Yeah, they can just chill and they'll be fine. And it's like I don't know. It's such a different thing to most other spiders because most spiders are like all flea and I don't know. And
Yeah,
tarantulas are
yeah.
just like
They're
I'm
very
gonna chill here.
docile. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
I
I
think
also have like
that's
a curly hair that like we were talking about.
uh
She's an adult now and she hasn't eaten in like months, but she still has a big old fat booty.
yeah, I know. This girl, I think it's once every 3 months. I don't know. It's just something so weird.
And then you just started keeping snakes, right?
Yeah, and I love snakes as well because they're so intelligent. I mean, the common idea that people get about snakes is that they're like some dumb thing. I don't know. But when you really start interacting with snakes and start knowing them and start keeping them, you start to see all the quirks, all the things that they do. They have preferences. They have personal preferences. They got sometimes they are moody. Sometimes they are. I don't know. It's like cats. They're
Everybody's got their different temperaments. Or like
yeah.
I
They're
know I typically keep species that are more defensive, but I have yet to see defensiveness come out from them because most of the time they just hang out. They're sweet. I can handle them.
yeah.
I've never really been bit by my defensive snakes.
Well, I have been bit, but not by the fancy snakes because I have some colubrids and Mexican black king snake actually, and that guy
Yeah,
thinks
those are those little sneakies.
every single thing that comes near his face is food.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him, you know. He's fat and plump and loves to eat, but sometimes he just mistakes my fingers for food, I guess. But that's okay because then he realizes, oh wait, I can swallow this, and then he lets go. So
What
it's
do you
kind of cute
normally
actually.
feed him? What do you normally feed him?
He eats mouse pinkies, thawed mouse pinkies,
Okay.
but he eats a lot of them. So he's like
Yeah.
anything that's round and pink and small and comes near his face. Oh, that's food.
And our fingers are pink and small and food.
Our fingers look like pinkies, so yeah, I don't blame her at all.
Well,
But
you've
yeah,
been
it's
enjoying the snake journey so far, huh?
yeah, actually, I think it's like a natural transition for most spider keepers or a lot of people that start off with tarantulas or scorpions or invertebrates, because when you start to know these animals and start to notice their body language and um, everything related to their personal boundaries, because everything will set a boundary. Like a spider that don't doesn't want to be handled uh, sets its boundary by being either defensive or scared or whatever. And a spider that is in the mood for being handled just stays still like my girl there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. They
once you
typically
start
let
to
you
know,
know.
yeah, and once you start to know to read the body language of these animals, I think it's like a natural transition. So like I get some spiders, and oh, this snake looks interesting, and I think I can keep it because it's sometimes it's kind of similar, excluding the temperature and humidity and all that, because they're I don't know, like a little up in the a little higher up in the sense that they are more dependent of a better husbandry, but still they are very hardy. They eat very little, so I think
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
natural.
Now, have you noticed between, and we were also just discussing this yesterday, but like, have you personally noticed um kind of like a difference between keeping tarantulas and snakes, like financially or space wise,
Oh yeah,
or
definitely.
maybe more intense care, like we were just saying?
Yeah, and actually that's something that, for example, my buddies in the hobby do tell me that they don't really like to keep reptiles or snakes because they are a lot higher maintenance. Like you gotta clean and change their water daily or
Yeah,
weekly, depending. But I think if you're down to keep an animal and you are passionate about everything that it takes, it's just a natural transition. And the thing is, you can't have that much snakes. Well, I mean, I can't have that many snakes, as many snakes, because well, I just don't have the space. But believe me, if I had the space, I would have a ton more snakes. They're just
I bet
so,
I'm the same way.
yeah, I
I
know.
feel like it's a lot easier to, I don't want to say hoard, but take on,
Correct.
collect. You get those people that it starts with like one or two or 10, and then it all of a sudden you get 130 or 150 or
Yeah, I
200
know.
tarantulas, and then you can't really do that as much with snakes or like reptiles.
Yeah, and also, well, they're quite a bit more expensive. So
Right,
you also
right,
got to take that into consideration. Actually, well,
right.
I used to have a lot more. I was telling you that I used to have a lot more animals, but due to some financial problems, I had to get rid of some. But I still make sure that I can provide for my snakes, for my tarantulas, even when I have these problems,
Absolutely.
because these creatures have honestly saved me from depression a lot. I started collecting them during the pandemic, the worst times of the pandemic, and these little dudes just uh, uplifted me so much, reminded me of the previous
Yeah,
life, and I think that's what made me fall in love so much. You know?
absolutely. I can totally agree. Um, they almost have like a therapy, like,
Yeah,
like snake therapy or tarantula therapy. And
yeah,
I
I
wish
know.
I wish you could do like emotional support snakes or tarantulas, but
I think that does
I don't think a
exist.
lot
You
of
know?
people would like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people, I think a lot of people wouldn't like that because they have the wrong idea of what the animal actually is. I remember this specific story about a girl I met one day that I made a party at my house, and when I make parties at my
Hmm.
house, I like to give a tour of the reptile and spider room, just because why not? I love to share my passions. And I remember this girl that had a very serious phobia of spiders, uh,
Hmm.
like to the point that she couldn't even look at a spider without panicking. And
Yeah,
it took me a while because I knew her from the past, but that day it took me a while to convince her to actually go to the spider room, come to the spider room, and meet what an actual tarantula is. And she told me that I pretty much cured her phobia because she had this idea that that spiders are like this creepy monster thing that's out to get you, and that
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
you know
what most society thinks until you understand that, like, I look at it as like, okay, they were here before us, first of all. And
and
then
they
second of all, I'm like, what is it? Why am I afraid? What is the fear? Is it the way they look? Is it the way that they are portrayed? Is it how they feel? So I kind of like I ask myself these questions to kind of get over that fear. Because
yeah, I know.
I myself used to be terrified. I'm like,
Oh really?
ew, gross. Yeah. And then one day, yeah, one day I went into my local, reptile store, and I asked to handle, one, and it was a life-changing experience, I gotta say. But that's
Yeah,
cool that, like,
exactly.
you got your friend to kind of, you helped her out. So how did that feel? You're changing minds.
I know, and that's kind of the thing that I like the most when I can make somebody change their mind about what an animal is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I've succeeded. Also,
Right.
my cousin used to be deadly afraid of snakes because of stupid movies like Anaconda and Snakes on a Plane and
Yeah.
that kind of garbage. And then he met my ball pythons. Like I think that a ball python is the best option to cure someone of their snake phobia because they're ball
They're pretty
pythons.
docile. They're docile. They're very puppy-like at times. They're usually like
Even their little
a
faces like
good
puppies.
beginner snake. That's usually where like a lot of people I know that were like, oh yeah, I used to be terrified of snakes and now I have ball pythons. That's usually like how they got introduced.
Yeah, I know, and it's like such a different thing than what everything is expecting from a snake or an animal. Like
Mm-hmm.
once you start to notice the real thing is just so different to the fantasy or cultural idea of the animal that we get. It just
Right.
changes your whole perspective.
Also, shout out to Shauna and Banna. Hello. Hi. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, either.
So I know you also keep like the one day I was talking to you, you had like centipedes, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, I like centipedes. I'm still like, I'm not fucking with that. But like, I can admire their beauty, but they are vicious.
They are
Change my
definitely
mind. Change my mind, Amelia. Are they vicious or are they not?
much more ravenous than tarantulas in that sense because centipedes are active predators. Tarantulas
Mm-hmm.
are more like ambush predators, and they wait until prey gets nearby their dens or their webs or things like that. Centipedes go out and actually hunt. So that behavior changes the whole demeanor of the animal. And actually, well, now I don't have any centipedes because I had to sell them sadly.
Oh, yeah.
But I have a preserved
What you got?
centipede along with other things. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that's kind of cool. See, that's the color that I like on the centipede is like the red and the blues or the oranges.
Yeah, actually, this is white leg centipede, the biggest in the world, and that's also this is I don't know how's it called. Um, Dirt snake. Well, it's just like a ringneck snake, but
Yeah.
from Mexico. And this little guy just sadly passed away. And the others are tarantulas and another centipede that I had. That well, I simply sometimes just can't part with them,
I
and
get it.
make
I get it. I think a lot of people are
actually
like, it's just a bug. It's just a bug. Mm,
no, it's not just a bug,
mm-hmm. I
but
think
but
where was it you were telling me the one day they have like a different way of digesting than a tarantula, and I was kind of terrified when you told me how
yeah,
fast they process food.
so centipedes, they have something that's called Malpighian tubules, and that's sort of like an appendix for us. And what this makes is that it makes the centipede digest protein and chitin much more faster, so they can actually thrive on a diet of vertebrates. And well, that's what I fed them. Actually, my centipedes ate mice pinkies and the occasional hissing cockroach or crickets, but
Hmm.
to be honest, they didn't really care much about those. They loved the pinkies and the mice and everything
They
because
like they like the
yeah,
flesh.
yeah, and they eat so much more than tarantulas. They're very different, but going back to their demeanor, their behavior, centipedes are a little more touchy because they got all these legs that act like a sensory antenna all over the animal. So that
Yeah.
sometimes you just get centipedes that. Do you see that they got like two long legs on the back?
Yeah.
When they get startled, they put up those legs like sort of like a threat display, and they kind of tap you with those legs
Yeah.
because they don't want to bite. They also need their venom, like just like a snake. They have to
Mhm.
produce venom, and they're not out to get you. But
Yeah.
I gotta say that I have been stung by a centipede,
How was
and
that?
it's not a very fun experience.
I
So this was
bet.
so this was a giant Vietnamese centipede. It was like this big, and I was tagged in my finger, like just a quick tag. That was
Mhm.
it.
But even that
And
wasn't fun.
yeah, so I was rehousing her, and my finger accidentally touched one of those back legs of the centipede, and it just uh, sprung like
Oh my
lightning
god.
fast, tagged my finger. I just put on the lid, sat down, and said, "Well, I'm in for some suffering." It was a sharp, searing pain that started all from the tip of my finger and went all down to my elbow. And the intensity kept getting harder and harder, and it was 12 hours of suffering.
Oh my
Needless to say, I
god.
fell in love with that centipede. That was the kiss of true love. I really loved that centipede.
You are crazy,
But
girl. You are crazy.
yeah, they're definitely not for everyone because they're like I don't know, like turbo tarantulas, turbo long tarantulas, I guess.
Hi, Kat. Should I get a centipede at Tinley?
I think you
Cat
should.
transfer. Arachnids Cat also said that she likes your wet specimen of your centipede.
Oh, you like my wet specimen? I got a lot more. Let me show you that. So
Also,
this
again,
one,
reminder, guys, I might end up dying, but here we are. We're making it work.
let's just see how long we get. This one was not mine, but I prepared it. This little ball
Okay.
python.
Yeah.
Yeah, some a friend just told me, "Hey, so my ball python died. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want it."
I'll preserve it. I'll preserve it.
Yeah, and
Hey, down in
also,
Mexico, do you guys have oddity shows? Like where
um,
they keep like wet specimens or like bone fragments or stuff like that?
yeah, I know oddity shows, but no, actually, well, not that I know of, because, well, um, I pretty much know about the scene in Mexico and everything, but I don't think
Just
we
giving
got.
us the scoop, guys.
Yeah, we got some oddity shops, and most of the places that have exotic animals, for example, do tend to sell preserved specimens or bones or that kind of thing. But I am so jealous of those expos that you get. Like, I mean, check this out.
There's a couple people that are jealous of me right now. Oh, look at
Yeah, and I've
that.
liked this ever since I was a little girl too. It's
Hold
just
on, hold on. Oh my God. That was awesome. No, what kind of snake was
oh,
that?
this. Yeah. Oh, hi. I think we had some lag, but I think I can hear
Yeah,
you
a
now.
little bit. Okay. Now, what kind of snake
Yeah.
was that?
Oh, that's a boa,
That was a
a baby
boa?
boa. Yeah.
Hey, did they end up like, do you know the reserve like specimens?
The
There's like a
preserved
certain dye
specimens.
that you can do to
Oh
make.
yeah, yeah. It's this technique. This is a ball python. This technique is called diaphanization. So what it does is basically
Yes.
you soak the specimen in a solution that basically makes it transparent. Then you soak it in a
Yeah.
dye that makes the bones red, and then you soak it in another dye that makes the cartilage purple. So you end up with this amazing looking specimen that's shades of red and purple, and it's just so beautiful. I've always been such a fan of these preservation techniques.
Those are awesome. Those are probably one of my favorites. If I could get my hands on like a specimen like that, I would die for it.
Yeah, it's just so worth it, and it's a great conversation starter.
I was gonna ask you because you are down in Mexico also, what kind of like everyday wildlife do you guys have? Like you just walk outside type of crazy thing? This is how we're about to
Well,
see how cultured I am.
well, actually, that's something that pretty much depends on where you live. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
at least, I live in the very heart of the city, so we don't really get a lot of wildlife. I do get
Okay.
a garden, so there's a lot of bugs, a lot of spiders, a lot of different species of animals. Actually, one of my favorites are the house centipedes. I don't know if you know about
Yeah,
those.
yeah, 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 yeah. Those guys move fast. I've had one of those
Yeah,
in my house before, and I'm like, hell no.
yeah, they can definitely freak you out. But in fact, I was scared of house centipedes because they just move
But
so
they don't
weird.
like bite. Do they bite?
They don't bite at
Or are
all,
they
but
like harmless? They just look creepy and move fast.
yeah, exactly, and that's what creeped me out sometimes. But when I started keeping tarantulas, I started to look a little closer into all these creatures, and I realized that house centipedes are actually really cool.
Yeah.
We got also several types of birds, several types of lizards. Those spiny lizards that got
Yeah.
the blue belly. I love those guys.
Oh, I'm sure you also
But
have like plenty of those anoles too, huh?
Yeah, yeah, but not here in the city. We got a lot of diversity in places that are not so crowded, you know. And I guess
Yeah.
that's the same for any city, but that's something that I've always been jealous of about the U.S. because a lot of you guys live near forested zones, near very
Oh
beautiful natural
yeah.
preserves, and I am so jealous of that because I used to talk to some friends and they used to tell me, "Oh, I found this toad, this little frog, a garter snake, or something like that," and I was like, "Ah, I wish
Yeah.
I could find those
You
creatures
guys,
in
this
my
is why
house."
it's important to preserve your forest. Save
Yeah,
your forest.
exactly. And also,
Amelia
and
does
also,
not get that. So
yeah, and also just talking about the importance of all these animals, you know, because they're not just there. They are there because they have a function. They have a place or role in the ecosystem, and you can just I don't know, just throw them around. They are there because of a reason, and that's I think that's beautiful because we can share our living spaces with those creatures, and instead of looking at them
absolutely.
as intruders, they are
Hmm.
roommates, basically.
And they do an important job. They do, kill the mosquitoes or, the pests in your house.
Yeah,
So
I know.
that's why I try to tell people like he's got a job, he's got a purpose, just don't smack him.
He's got a job unlike you, okay? Oh well, I can say anything because I'm currently
The only
unemployed. So
time that I will take a spider outside or like grab my little broomstick, I'm like, I still see pests in this house. You are not doing your rent. You are not paying your rent around here, friend.
yeah, actually, that's the reason because I why I have so much cellar spiders in my room because they just take care of all the mosquitoes, and I haven't had a complaint about mosquitoes in years. I tell you, those little guys are just living their best lives in the corners of my room, and I'm glad to have them there. You know,
Hell yeah. No, I also remember the last podcast that I was with you with Brittany from Stronghold.
with Brittany, yeah,
Yeah, you talking about getting a blood python from her or potentially a short
yeah,
tail
yeah. Actually,
one day?
one
One
one of
day?
my dream snakes is a blood python because they're just so different, so chunky, so big. I mean,
Yeah.
I I see your what's the name of your girl that
Uh,
just
so my collie, she is a blood, but she's also a hybrid, which is kind of frowned upon. I did not
wow,
produce her, people. She came across my way. I took her. I wasn't gonna let her just sit there, but yeah, she is definitely a blood hybrid. So
wow, that's
my
amazing.
advice for you is definitely go through a breeder. Someone definitely like Brittany, who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing because I would love to get one from her, but shipping live animals from the U.S. to
Oh,
Mexico is kind of a mess. I mean,
I
it's
didn't think about
possible.
that.
I have seen that it's possible. I think you can do it if you put the animal on Morph Market. I think Morph Market has
Yeah.
something like that. But honestly, I think it would just be easier to get one over here. I would love to get one of those blood pythons from Brittany because oh my god, the more she got, I don't know where she
She's
gets
got
all those
amazing
animals.
stuff.
It's
No,
just so
she produces some of those.
I know, and it's just so amazing. They're just so
Or boas,
breathtakingly
some of the
beautiful.
boas that she produces. Oh my
I know.
God.
Boas are also among my favorite snakes. In fact,
They're a kind heart of mine too.
my first snake was a boa, and I got so in love with her that I just needed to have more. You know, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
one is not enough. One is never enough.
No, it's never enough. This is why it's an addiction. Drugs are
Yeah,
cheaper, kids, but like, don't do them. Get into reptiles.
get into reptiles
Save,
instead. They're more
save,
expensive.
save conservation. Get into reptiles.
You won't have money for drugs if you get reptiles, so that's a good.
Chris said, I never had a centipede, but would try to hold one. I wouldn't try to hold one, Chris.
I
No.
will certainly
Did
advise
you listen to
against,
Amelia?
but but I can tell you that there are several species of centipede that don't have such strong venoms. For instance, the Florida blue centipede. I think it's Scolopendra viridis. That
Wonder if I can find
one,
one here at Tinley.
yeah, they are beautiful because they have a lot of morphs. They can be green, blue, bluish, reddish, orange. They're beautiful, and that species. I have been stung by that species, and I think a bee sting is more painful. So that's definitely a species you can handle. There's also the tiger centipede. I think it's Scolopendra polymorpha. They do get some do get bigger than the Florida blue, and they also
Mm-hmm.
don't have such a powerful venom. So those are good starter centipedes that I would recommend definitely if you want to start getting into centipedes because honestly, Vietnamese giant centipede, which I think are very readily available, they are very impressive. They are very beautiful, but definitely not a beginner friendly species at all.
You got crazy things, girl. All right, so Arachnid Cat has a question for you, Amelia. She
The
says,
feathered
"Do you have a
centipede.
feather? Do you have a feather centipede?"
Like the one that has like little flags on its tail, right? I don't have one of those because I have heard that they are very, very specific with their husbandry. You can't keep them like normal centipedes. But I do know a guy that keeps them and has. Actually, I think he's the first one here in Mexico that has successfully bred them. So I might get one soon because, well, I already got more space. I have more time, so maybe just one. You
Maybe in
know?
the future she'll take pictures for us, Cat.
Yeah, I know.
The closest thing that I've had are millipedes. I am a sucker for a millipede. I think if I can find an African millipede, they're like long. You know what I'm talking about? They're long,
Yeah.
black. They live like for 7 years. I would do one of those again. Um, I tried to breed them, and of course, me being a go-getter, everybody was like, "Millipedes are really hard to breed in captivity," and I was like, "I'm gonna do it. I would do it." It didn't work out.
They're, they're not so hard, you know. They're not so
But
hard.
they
You
were
just gotta
in,
really nail
yeah,
the
they
couple.
were in another, like, they're like another species that has like the long, creepy, crawly legs that I was like, why am I afraid of this? They don't bite. And then I learned to like kind of enjoy the feeling of them crawling on me. Sensory overload.
For once, I think it's very. I don't know. I like it's like little tickles. I like the
Yeah.
millipedes. And actually, if you want to hold something that has a lot of legs and don't want to try your luck with a centipede, then a millipede is the way to go. They are so
Chris, get
amazing.
millipedes. There are so many varieties and colors. There are
Yeah,
feather leg millipedes. They're like
yeah, I
I
know.
they like have like they're like pink and then they have like kind of some fun weird legs.
Yeah, the dragon centipedes, I think. Though.
Oh yes, yes, that was another one. They're a lot smaller than I thought they would be.
Yeah, the thing with centipedes is that while they're not venomous, some are really toxic. So that's also something to to
That's
keep in
the
mind. You
when
know.
yeah, because they have cyanide.
Yeah, I used to have Texas centipedes, a colony of like
Mm-hmm.
10, 10 Texas centipedes, and just opening the lid on that colony, you get
The
the
smell.
smell, the chemical smell of the centipedes. It's I don't know, it's something unlike any other smell I've ever.
I usually tell people like it's not gonna kill you, but definitely
No,
wash your hands. Unless you're like
yeah,
a small
because
4-year-old child that doesn't know better and puts everything in your mouth,
yeah, I
wash your
know.
hands. Oh.
Because it won't kill you definitely, but it can definitely make you sick, you know, and you don't
Yeah,
want that.
everybody likes to stay healthy.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna ask you, I've been asking everybody while you're on here, before I go, before we die, um, I am thinking about getting an OBT,
Okay.
an orange baboon tarantula,
Yeah,
or a pokey.
a pokey. Okay.
Oh,
So
cat right here says not yet. Ashley, stick with the OBT.
stick with the OBT. Well,
I have
l-
already seen slings of pokies and the OBTs. Who knows?
well, let me tell you something. Um,
As a new
OBTs.
as an old world tarantula person, or I guess I'm trying to get into old world, what would you recommend as like a starter?
I think an OBT is the perfect starter because while they are infamous for their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, that attitude, I think, um, is not like what every single spider is gonna be like. Because I used to have this giant OBT female. She was like this
Mm-hmm.
big.
Yeah.
In fact, I reproduced her. She ate one male, but the other male made it. So
Oh my
she gave
gosh,
me.
tarantulas are crazy, these females.
No. I know. She's a man eater.
I love
But
it though. That's why I kind of like having one females live longer in the tarantula
yeah,
world. Snakes, they're bigger and like yeah, female tarantulas are man eaters. I love it.
yeah, I know. But sometimes it's annoying, you know, because it's like the only male you have and it gets eaten. So I gotta get another one.
That's my thing is like everybody's like, "Oh, let me pair your Grammastola pulchra. He's a male,
Oh,
right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But they're also
yeah.
like, "Ha ha ha, like he could potentially get eaten." And I'm like, "No, that's my firstborn. Don't no, we're not breeding him.
Well,
Sorry."
Brazilian blacks and Ramastolas are definitely more laid back, so I wouldn't be as worried that the male will get eaten. But definitely, old worlds are quite a bit more feisty. So OBTs are such great weavers. In fact, I think that's the thing I like the most. Their webs, their nests, they look incredible. If you give
I know
them,
the amount of work they put into it. Hell
yeah,
yeah, they pimped it up. They're like, this the bathroom, this the master, this the ooh,
yeah, I
here's the
know. If you
kitchen.
give them enough space, they will web everything out. Let me tell you, everything. Even the lid of the enclosure gets webbed out sometimes. And the big difference with OBTs and pokies is that pokies are much faster because they don't tend to build a lot of webs. So they are also kind of like active hunters,
Yeah.
and thus they tend to be more flighty, you know. I never had either an OBT or a Pokey escape, but I would definitely be more worried if a Pokey escaped.
Because they're teleporters, I hear.
Yeah, yeah, no, the teleport,
One a minute
no.
here, 1 minute there.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. It's actually insane. You can't keep up. It's faster than your eyesight. But the thing I like more about Pokies than OBTs is that Pokies just get so big, so stunning, so incredibly large. I used to have a Poke Regalis. I think it's
Yeah,
she was, I think, this big. She was gigantic, and I
yeah.
loved that girl so much because she was like, when I got her, she was like 5 years old. She got to be 7.5 years old, and she was just absolutely enormous. I just loved that spider.
Oh my god.
And
You're making
Pokies
it a
tend,
tough decision.
yeah, also Pokies tend to stay out of her heights a lot more than OBTs because OBTs like to web everything up and they like to be all cozy inside their little nest.
Mm-hmm.
So you, depending on the shape of the enclosure, you might not see your OBT as much as you see your Pokey, for example.
So maybe recommending for an OBT something more terrestrial, where it's more than a boreal.
Yeah, in fact, OBTs do like to bury sometimes. Well, as lynx, they like to make little burrows in the dirt. As
Mm-hmm.
adults, they do like to burrow, but I think depends on the individual spider because some just web up more, some stay outside more, some like dig more, and pokies, they generally tend to just stay out.
Yeah.
Both
So now I got some
both
decisions to think on.
both grow really fast, so that's something to take into consideration as well. They grow really really fast.
Oh my god. All right, before my phone dies, I want to wrap this up. And I'm so glad that I got to have you on. So I definitely want to do something with you in Stronghold again. We could talk
Yeah,
snake. What do you think?
I love it. I'm so up for it. I love that idea.
Yes, let's do it. And then I will show everybody if I get an OBT, what I get at Tinley, what I get at NARBC.
Yes,
I will show
please.
everybody. And then, yeah, I'll be here all weekend. So if there's anybody that is in Chicago or in the Tinley, Illinois area, come and see us.
I would love to see what you get. I'm so
Yes,
excited
I
to
will
see
share.
what
I
you
will
get.
share. I will share. All right.
Sadly, the budget
And
is
thank
not
you.
so big,
I
so
know.
yeah.
I know. I have a very tiny budget, so we'll see what we can do. But all right, guys, I will catch you on the next episode. Next or this coming weekend? Next week, I have Blue Bonnet, female blood python breeder, who I will be talking to. So you guys have to catch it. All right.
I'll be sure to join.
Awesome. It's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on a Saturday for
Okay.
Central, and then 7 p.m. Eastern Standard for you guys in my East Coast area.
Okay,
All right.
I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yes. Keep an eye out, everybody. Love ya.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Bye,
It's
guys.
always such a blast.
In the web of knowledge we spin all day, talking spiders every week they don't play. From the tarantula to the tiny mite, 8 legs of wisdom bringing truth to light. On the spider sense they break down the fear, creepy crawly legends are getting clear.